Right, we are live. I'm looking at Evie now. Can you see me?
Yes.
Excellent. Welcome, live Q&A time. I'm 3 minutes late. Joel's going to shout at me now. Terrible. Apologies, you've been waiting for that. So back in the office now, as you can see, we've got our Marvel prints on the wall. Back here after 673 weeks in lockdown, whatever it was. So back in the office now. It's brilliant. So hope you're all safe and well. Got another Q&A for you, this time talking about the importance of your brand voice. Sounds a bit farty and marketing speak, but it's very, very important. How you speak online, how you present yourself online. It's almost like KFC. They're a really good example, and I'll probably refer to them throughout this talk. KFC, they've got their brand voice very clear, and once you almost like hear them speak, see them speak online, you know it's KFC. And people like familiarity, they like consistency, because they will buy into you more. If your messaging and tone of voice is all over the shop, it will cause confusion, whether people realise that or not. And when people are confused, they don't spend money. And I imagine you want people to give you money. So we got some questions that have been sent in by guys. Evie's printed them off for me, and she's used a really big font as well. So someone's obviously telling her something there. But Evie sat opposite me. It's wonderful to see her again after seeing her just on Zoom for all those weeks, wasn't it, Evie? We both got our Lacoste tops on as well. Oh, where is it? I'm in reverse now. Other brands are available, of course, but we thought we'd lend a bit of class to the office. So first question here of someone called Nikki Henderson. Thanks for your question, Nikki. So saying, my target audience is very varied. How can my tone appeal to both a 20-year-old and a 60-year-old? Okay, that's a great question. I think Joel's touched on this before about customer avatar, about how important that is. So, and a category I usually talk about when we're talking about people, businesses that have got a very varied clientele, is a car dealer. So a car dealer, who's your customer audience? Well, it's anyone who can drive. So it could be a 17-year-old who's just passed their test. It could be an 8-year-old who's still safe on the road. So it could be anyone. But if you try and appeal to everyone, to a 17-year-old, to a 20-year-old, to an 8-year-old, try to appeal to all those ages, you will miss out on so much, because you're trying to please everyone. And as Rob Moore always says, and he's a great person to follow on social media, he's a property developer called the Disruptive Entrepreneur, Rob Moore. And Rob Moore always says, if you try and appeal to everyone, you'll appeal to no one. So even if you're a car dealer that will sell a car to a 17-year-old or sell a car to an 8-year-old, you need to have a customer avatar in your mind, an ideal demographic, your ideal customer. So it could be, right, well, actually, okay, we'll sell cars to anyone, but our ideal customer, the real sweet spot, is someone who's maybe married, in their mid-30s with a couple of kids. And that is who you tailor your marketing to. And as soon as you start veering too much away from that, you will lose the importance, the impactfulness of your marketing. It's hugely important. And if anyone wants to talk about the importance of having a customer avatar, do book a discovery call on our website, codebreak.co.uk. There we go, cheap plug over. But it is really important. So Nikki, you've said that you've got 20-year-old customers, you've got 6-year-old customers. You need to sit down and work out who is your ideal customer. Generally speaking, the 80-20 rule applies here. You will make 80% of your money through 20% of your customers. So straight away, narrow it down to the 20% of your customers that perhaps give you the most money or the most profitable. And then you can even further narrow that down by, okay, here are the guys that are the most profitable, but which are the ones who are the nicest to deal with? Maybe the ones who require the least amount of our time. Because sometimes you think, well, look, he or she pays me loads of money, but then you work out how much time they actually cost you, and suddenly they ain't so profitable. Or maybe they don't even make you happy. Maybe, when someone emails you and as soon as you see their name in your inbox and your first thought is, oh, bloody hell, that ain't an ideal customer. So working out your customer avatar is so important. And I wish I'd known that when I started out in business, because like many new businesses, I wanted to appeal to everyone. I wanted to be a marketer that helped any kind of business. Didn't care whether you're a big business, a small business, a one-man or one-woman band, it didn't matter. And I ran myself ragged. I was literally just trying to help so many people I probably didn't help as best as I could the core audience who I should have focused on in the first place. So very long answer to your question there, Nikki, but it really doesn't matter how varied your customer audience is. You need to work out your ideal customer audience, your customer avatar. And it's like a book. You have a novel that has got a central plot, the spine of a book. And of course, the story weaves in and out of that central spine, but it never deviates too far away from it. Otherwise, people just get a bit, it's a bit of a disjointed read. People get bored and they'll put the book down and they won't finish the book. Hugely, hugely important. So, lady called Michelle Wright, next question. Why is my brand voice important? Okay, so I guess your brand voice is so important because it reinforces who you are. You know who KFC is. We talked about that earlier. You see the KFC logo and you know who KFC are. You know how they write. You know how they advertise. You know what they sell. You roughly know the kind of range of products they have and the kind of prices they sell those products at. So a brand voice, a company, is almost just like a friend. You have different mates who are all different personalities, but you've got Bob over there, and Bob is a certain type of person. But you know who Bob is. You know how Bob speaks. So when Bob says something that's like, whoa, that's just so incongruent with how Bob usually speaks or thinks, that's really strange. And that's why some friends fall out with each other, because maybe they fall in with a different crowd, maybe they start having some dodgy political views that is so alien to the person that you first became a friend with. And it's the same with a company. If a company's message starts deviating away from why you originally fell in love with them, you'll probably stop giving business your money. And it's so important when you see something like KFC or McDonald's or Volvo. I mean, Volvo historically has been known as a very safe car brand. And if you say to somebody, maybe older, why do you drive a Volvo? Because it's safe. Why do you think it's safe? Because that's what Volvo's advertising over the many, many years they've been advertising, has been telling people that Volvo is a safe car. But what Volvo has then evolved into is not just being a safe car, but a premium luxury car. So Volvo, have been sponsoring Sky Atlantic for a couple of years now. So you've got some really cool shows on there, like Game of Thrones, for example. TV shows don't get much cooler than Game of Thrones. Obviously, they messed it up in the last season, but it won't go down that route. So Volvo's also evolved into a prestige premium brand, but they've done it safely and gradually. They haven't just suddenly stopped focusing on their safe message. They've done it gradually. And that's why you can shift away from your brand voice, but you have to do it gradually so people don't think you're suddenly have turned into another company. And it's hugely important unless you go through a rebrand. So why is your brand voice important, Michelle? It's because people are buying into you like they choose a friend, and your friend will act and behave in a certain way, and that is what you come to expect. And as a result, over time, you and that friend become closer and closer and closer. And before you know it, you're a couple of old friends in their 80s who've been friends for 70 years. And it's the same with a company. Most companies now are in this for the long haul. Obviously, there's always going to be some charlatan who wants to make as much money as quickly as possible, doesn't care about customer service, make money, get out of there. But most businesses, especially independent businesses, they want people to buy off them multiple times. So they put their marketing out there, hopefully appealing to the right customer avatars. You attract someone, gives them your money, brilliant, happy days. But then by staying in touch with that person, you will encourage them to buy off you again, encourage that person to refer you to friends, to their network of people. And that's how business grows organically. It's a wonderful thing, but it all starts with getting your brand voice right. And of course, people are going to recommend you to their friends because their friends are similar to them. So your company will probably match them. And that's why customer retention and referrals is so important. And if you're just purely focused on getting the new fresh blood and getting that next customer, well, what are you doing in your marketing to nurture that customer, to stay in touch and not just spam them? When someone's bought off you, you're not just going to hit them with sales message after sales message, but stay in touch with them, thank them, remind them why you do what you do, show them the people behind the business. We've talked about that before. If you're an independent business, you need to be showing off the people behind the business. Otherwise, you might as well be a faceless sort of Amazon type company. So as long as the people in your team are willing to get in front of the camera, have pictures taken, maybe even do a couple of videos, that's great because some people will buy into them. Hugely important, and I know I'm saying the word important a lot, but I do feel brand voice, there are a number of business owners out there who just don't realise just how crucial it is. That's why some people are more than happy to spend £5 on getting a new logo designed for their company, where it's like, well, no, a logo is massively important. The McDonald's golden arches, they didn't pay someone £5 to do that. And that McDonald's, that golden arches will come with comprehensive brand guidelines about how that logo is to be used. And it's almost like if you were to take out a full page ad in a magazine with loads of other businesses and you were all going to have your logos on that page, or if you were going to sponsor an event and there was a big sponsors wall and you were going to have your logo amongst lots of other company logos, you don't want to have a small logo that's pushed right up to the edge of that page or the edge of that banner. You don't want to be in the corner with your logo again at the bottom right of the. You want to have your logo as big as possible and surrounded with space, don't you? You don't want to be cramped and stuck away in the corner. And it's like that. It's so important, your brand voice. You've got to be loud, you've got to be proud, and you don't want lots of other things cluttering that up. So anyway, I could talk about this for ages, and Evie's going like that to me, so she means get on with it. Right, so question off Joe Thompson. How can you get your brand's voice across through social media? Okay, so your tone of voice on social media is hugely important, and the big word here is consistent. Decide how you're going to write, what kind of language you're going to use, whether you're going to be using emojis or not, and you almost need to write it down. So when new people come into your company, new employees, you grow your team, they can almost have a manual. Right, here is our company, this is our tone, this is our look, this is how to use our logo, this is how to speak online. So over time, that consistency will reap its rewards. Again, KFC, they're irreverent, they're informal, and they will always speak like that. Whether you're following them on Twitter or LinkedIn or Facebook, whatever it is, it will be the same tone of voice. And you buy into that, that becomes familiar. And that is what you expect to see. So if a company suddenly writes something you don't expect to see, it's like, oh, that strikes a bum note. It's a bit discordant, and again, that leads to confusion, which leads to people not buying off you anymore. So you have to decide what your voice is, what your tonality is, the kind of language you use. Do you use slang? Not bad language. You're not going to be there effing and blinding in all your social media, but you might not want it to be too clipped and too polished and too formal either. Formality in social media, even sort of legal companies, accountancy companies, they're not being so formal. We are a legal firm that have been established for 77 years. We have been, people don't really talk like that anymore, and you shouldn't really write like that. It's like when we're running copywriting workshops, a lot of people ask about blogs, and blogs are still totally underused. If you can sit down once a week and write an interesting, insightful article, some advice you can share free of charge with your subscribers, it's brilliant. It's brilliant for customers, it's brilliant for potential customers. Google will love you forever. So writing a regular blog is a great thing.
Hi, Joel and Andy here. Thanks for listening to our podcast. We're loving sharing our marketing tips with you.
If you'd like to kickstart your marketing, why not jump on a discovery call? Simply visit codebreak.co.uk and apply there. Hopefully speak to you soon.
Take care.
But you write a blog almost like you're talking to people. If you wouldn't sit down with a mate in the pub and talk in that like perfect Queen's English. You have to have that informality. Maybe not to the extent of sitting down with a mate in the pub, but it needs to be at least colloquial. Writing colloquial English is, to be honest, a bit of a skill in itself. Because I think we've been conditioned through school to write in perfect Queen's English when we're writing about our analysis of Shakespeare. It ain't like that, certainly not in the land of social media. So work on your tone, agree a tone, write down that tone, and make sure that everyone who is involved in your company, definitely the people who are involved in your marketing, they get that. So no matter whether it's usually Bob who does your social media, then Bob buggers off on holiday and Sue takes over. Sue needs to write in a way that your viewers, your subscribers, your followers wouldn't even notice, because they are writing in your brand tone. Mention emojis briefly, either use them or don't. if your target audience isn't teenagers, never use like 30 emojis in a row, anything silly like that. But do drop them in, because, my mum is, I should know my mum's age, but it's early 70s, definitely off the top of my head. So my mum uses emoji. She'll WhatsApp me and she'll bung some emojis in there. Not always the right emojis, but that's another story. And so it's all ages. There's no like, oh, well, my customer avatar is someone in their 60s and they don't use emojis. Why would you think that? Emojis make my business look unprofessional. Well, who told you that? Pretty much every marketing research study will show you how you can improve the engagement of your social media by including emojis if you use them correctly. So, but again, agree what's right for you. It's your company at the end of the day, Joe, so you have to dictate it, but make an informed decision and write it down. Sounds really boring, doesn't it, having manuals and processes, but processes work. And if you have to onboard every new member of staff, make the process easy. Here's how we do our marketing. Here's how to use our logo. Here's how we talk on social media. And to be honest, it makes things simpler, it makes things quicker, which saves you money, and it helps ensure that people don't go off piste and do their own thing, because I couldn't tell you how many social media disasters I've seen when someone entrusts their social media to the wrong person. So just because Jane in accounts has like 1,500 followers on Instagram, that does not make Jane a social media expert. This is your business, this is your livelihood. And to be honest, Evie, we should probably do a Q&A about who you trust for your social media, because in the days, an age where people are very quick to screenshot something, all you need to do is one wrong tweet about Black Lives Matter, because you haven't done anything malicious, but you've interpreted the whole movement wrong, and someone screenshots it. It can almost ruin your business overnight. So I definitely think we should do a Q&A about that. So that'd be really cool. Stephen D, how can we achieve a positive tone in keeping with our brand's voice in our own messaging, even if we're talking about dull or touchy subjects? Okay, very cool. Okay, so dull or touchy subjects. So touchy, Black Lives Matter, that's obviously still ongoing. There was a big day where we did some posts about Black Lives Matter, but we have three themes we always focus on when we're coming up with content, either for ourselves or for our many social media clients. Does the post I'm about to do, does it educate, does it inspire, or does it entertain? Ideally, it has to do one of those three things. And over time, you get a balance as well. You don't just do a good educational post where you share your expertise free of charge and it resonates well. Oh, suddenly all my posts will be about education. No, you've got to balance it out with inspirational stuff and entertaining stuff as well. So Black Lives Matter, to be honest, we educated people. We signposted people to interesting YouTube channels and books about why Black Lives Matter. For people to we need to educate ourselves more. We're hands off, and I think a lot of people made the mistake of trying to assume they knew what Black Lives Matter was all about. And so if you're unsure, if it's a subject that maybe is bordering on political, Stephen, sometimes the wisest decision might be just to avoid it. And you don't want to be the company that jumps onto something because everyone else is doing it. And there are some people that will do that. Oh, I should talk about this because everyone else is. Well, really, is that the best thing? Do you have an opinion on this subject? Are you actually sure you know what this subject is about? Because people will see through that. So something political, maybe stay away from. You talk about dull or touchy subjects. A dull subject. So I don't know, I always think accounting, which is bad because, we got some accounting clients and they're like the coolest people ever. But there might be something that is a bit more formal, a bit more regulated, something like accountancy or law. But a positive tone in keeping with your brand's voice, you say. I've already mentioned, keep it informal. Keep it light-hearted when possible. If you're a funeral director, you're probably not going to be doing much light-hearted content, admittedly. But most businesses, no matter how regulated you are, you've got to have a sense of informality in there, whether you're a financial advisor, accountant, a lawyer, marketer, whatever it might be. And a positive tone is important. Now, positivity is very important. COVID-19, I mean, goodness me, there have been days where obviously sometimes it's been hard to see the positivity out there, but we're very clear here that you can be positive, but that is different to being rose-tinted. That, okay, COVID-19 is shit. Don't try and make out that, oh, things are amazing, things will get better, brilliant. That will just wind some people up. But there is positivity in a lot of stuff. And we believe, look at the positive things on life. Look at the things you can control. Control the controllables. That's a mantra that we're always going on about here. And if you can't control something, what good is going to come through whining and bitching about it, especially public? And we would never whine and moan publicly on social media for ourselves, or indeed absolutely not for our clients, because it's just not productive. If you're moaning about something that's out of your control, again, what good can come of it? So do something that is going to have a positive outcome, something you have got control over. And one of those obviously is your marketing. So have a positive tone, absolutely. If it's a dull subject, how can you liven it up? Are you assuming something's dull because everyone else who talks about it is maybe a bit dull? You stand out. You be the crazy accountant. You be the coolest lawyer ever, the funniest HR person ever, whatever it might be. Because if you can stand out in a field, happy days. If you can be the first one to start doing something, the first one who's doing a weekly podcast about HR, whatever it might be, even when your competitors start copying you, you will always have the kudos of being the first to do something. And we talked about this before, that, everyone knows that Roger Bannister ran the 4-minute mile. Did you know that someone else ran a 4-minute mile literally the next week? No one knows who that guy is. He's some Australian bloke, can't remember his name, see? But everyone will remember the first person who did something. So if no one else in your industry is doing a podcast, maybe you should do a podcast. We're yet to find a marketer that does a printed newsletter. So we do a printed newsletter. It's looking how you can be different. So to be honest, Stephen, if a lot of your competitors' marketing is quite dull, then that's like a golden opportunity. Now, obviously, I don't know what kind of business you're in, but again, if you want to talk further about it, do book a call through our website. Happy to go into more details. And touchy subjects, again, I could talk about Black Lives Matter and forever. But the rule of thumb might be, if you're unsure about something, don't post about something. There is still, some people feel a pressure to post every day or to post 10 times a day. Sometimes it's better not to post. And even, in fact, this week's Marketing Monday email that I sent out on Monday, funny enough, was about not being too scared of stuff to post. So it was Father's Day on Sunday, and I've got friends that didn't want to post a picture of them with their kids because it might upset people who've lost their fathers. I lost my father a few years ago. I will still celebrate Father's Day. And sometimes you can worry so much about, what if that offends so-and-so? What if that offends so-and-so? And on a business point of view, you just can't be that safe, because you never get anything done. If every time you thought, I better not post. I better not post about Christmas because it might offend people who aren't Christians, or they're atheists, or whatever it might be. So I definitely won't send Christmas cards, and I'll only say season's greetings instead of Happy Christmas. At some point, you need to find out where you're comfortable to draw the line and to be yourself and be true unto yourself. And just veering off again now, do a whole Q&A about that, to be honest. So there are some subjects that are so big and political, yes, you might want to stay away from, but don't play it so safe all the time that you just almost fade into obscurity. And as Aristotle said, the famous Greek marketer, there's only one way to avoid criticism, and it is to say nothing, to do nothing, and to be nothing. So, getting super deep today, Evie. All right, last question now. How are we doing on time? Can't even tell that. 23 minutes. Oh, that's not too bad, is it? That's not too bad. Hope everyone's still awake. A guy called Mark Williams. I run a small electrical contracting business, and I was wondering whether my brand voice should be the same as how I communicate with people on a personal level. So sort of touched upon this. The whole line is becoming blurred about who you are as a person and how you talk and conduct yourself as a person, and how you conduct yourself as a business person, how your company portrays itself publicly. Now, Mark, if you go out effing and blinding, shouting and swearing, I'd probably advise you don't do that on your social media. But if if you do drop the old F-bomb into an email or whatever, to a certain extent, again, like I just said, you have to be true unto yourself. And there's nothing worse than seeing somebody's marketing that portrays themselves a certain way, and then you meet them in the flesh. Now, of course, if you run a small electrical contracting business, I assume you do meet people on your patch in the flesh. You're not a faceless corporation that never actually deals with people face to face. And this person is portrayed a certain way online. This business is portrayed a certain way online, and they actually meet the business owner or their employees in the flesh, and they're totally different. It really will, again, be discordant with your marketing. And I know that's my new favourite word now, discordant. So if your marketing is going to portray yourself as like the super clean, super professional, super punctual people, the most super punctual, super clean electrical contractors ever, and then you turn up for a job late and your guys are there looking all messy, they haven't washed their branded tops, or they're not even wearing branded tops, the two just don't marry. So you've got to be yourself. And if you're doing a video, if you're doing a live video, and you do swear, because sometimes you swear personally, then you know what, that's okay. And if someone isn't going to give you their business because you said shit in your Facebook Live, then that person probably wasn't going to be an ideal customer for you anyway. Now, like I mentioned, that doesn't mean go dropping F-bombs every other word. That just won't work at all. So be maybe a bit of be your diluted self in your social media when you're talking about your business. So be yourself, but also remember that you do have to be a bit more professional. It's like LinkedIn. A lot of people are moaning about LinkedIn, saying it's become too Facebooky. People are posting about, oh, look at my dog, or, that kind of stuff. And LinkedIn is more of a professional network, but it still has to be informal. And it's the LinkedIn purists, the people who've been using LinkedIn for donkey's years, who are getting upset by all these people coming in, posting pictures about what they had for tea last night. It's being informal, but remembering you're still in a business situation. So if I'm meeting a prospect for the first time and we're sat face to face, socially distanced, of course, I'm probably not going to be shouty or sweary or anything, but what you're seeing now is pretty much the real me. I do swear every now and then. I do have the odd drink, although this is just water. Evie told me I shouldn't drink at lunchtime anymore. See my Darth Vader cup? Isn't that cool? I don't know why I started talking about Star Wars. We're obsessed with Star Wars here. It's really strange. Bit of a tangent here. We drink out of Star Wars glasses. We got Marvel prints on the background. And it's important when people come into our business, they see what we're about, and that is maybe the essence of marketing. So this is what we're all about, and that's why your office experience is important as well. If you have people coming into your premises, what is that journey like? And in fact, we just recorded another video about this very subject, the office experience. People come and they see the real you, and they have, and that won't be for everyone, and that is important. We mentioned this at the beginning. If you try and appeal to everyone, you'll appeal to no one. We like Star Wars, I like Star Trek, the others haven't quite seen the light on that, but I'm working on them. We like Marvel, this is who he is. Now, I know we have lost business because of that. I know some people have seen our posts or our videos and think, oh, he swears a bit, or oh god, look, he's got a Marvel post in the background. Oh, is he serious about his business? Oh, we should approach that agency that have like super cool photos of their gleaming Macs on their minimal desks. And again, that's great. I'm okay with that. Go to that agency. So Mark, sounds to me, if you're running a local electrical contracting business, be yourself. Have an informal tone. Just be aware that you don't want to be shouting and swearing. So do be yourself, be real. So ultimately the people who turn up to do the electrical contracting job, they are a fair representation of the marketing you put out there, of the social media content you put out there, of your website. So when they turn up, they are in fact affirming what they assumed. They are affirming the various marketing messages you've been putting out that attracted them, that got them to inquire in the first place. So again, consistency, consistent persistence. Yes, I bang on about that all the time, but it is so important to work out who your customer avatar is, what your marketing message is, and getting it out there in a familiar tone of voice that people see you and straight away they know, oh yeah, that's Codebreak. Oh yeah, that's KFC. It's almost like they don't need to see the logo. And like an old school test of an advert is, I know, maybe you're planning on doing an advert in a newspaper. If they took your company logo out and put a competitor's company logo in, would the advert still work? And if the answer is yes, you need to revisit that advert, because that advert should be unique to you. Your logo can be away from it. People should be seeing it and think, oh yeah, that's Codebreak, or that's KFC, that's Marks and Spencer's. And that whole brand voice, that brand identity, it's what will drive everything. And once you see it in action, once you get people nodding, oh yeah, I see you around, or yeah, I recognise your colours. Oh yeah, as soon as I saw that use of emojis, I knew that was you. It's a wonderful feeling, because when people are familiar with you, that starts breeding trust. And very rarely will people give you their money if they don't trust you. If it's a one-off purchase and they're purely buying on price, brand voice and trust doesn't come into it so much. But when someone gets to know you, they get to like you, and they get to trust you, then obviously it makes the sale easier. And that's what marketing's all about. If you want to sell 50 widgets today, don't go to a marketing agency. Like, employ a salesperson, get them on the phones, get them knocking on doors. But if you want your sales to be made easier, if you want people to recognize you when your marketing messages are going out, and for people to think, yeah, actually when I pick up the phone, I'm almost sold already because of your marketing, then that is a great thing. And that's what your marketing should do for you. It should make the selling easier. So that is bang on half an hour. That's not bad, is it, Evie? So hope you enjoyed that. As ever, if you've got any questions, do fire them over to us via our various social media channels. Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn are the most popular ones for us. Don't do Twitter, which is a whole other video in itself. So any questions, visit codebreak.co.uk, book a discovery call, a free 20-minute chat with either myself or Joel, and I'll be happy to give you some tailor-made advice to help you grow your business. So that's it for today. I'll see you soon for another Facebook Live Q&A.